Principles of Special Education and Inclusive Education. Special education is an intervention strategy to eliminate or at least to reduce the obstacles that might keep a child with disabilities from full and active participation in school and society. A special education program should be customized to address each individual student's unique needs. For example, low reading level could be given remediation via one-on-one reading instruction, phonics instruction, or practice in reading aloud. Special educators provide a continuum of services in which students with special needs receive varying degrees of support based on their individual needs. Special education programs need to be individualized so that they address the unique combination of needs in a given student. Students with special needs are assessed to determine their specific strengths and weaknesses. Placement, resources, and goals are determined on the basis of the student's needs. Accommodations and modifications to the regular program may include changes in the curriculum, supplementary aids or equipment, and the provision of specialized physical adaptations that allow the students to participate in the educational environment as much as possible. Special education employs special instructional methodology, also called as remedial instruction, instructional materials, learning teaching aids, and equipment to meet educational needs of children with specific learning disabilities. Remedial instruction or remediation aims at improving a skill or ability in a student. Techniques for remedial instruction may include providing more practice or more explanation, repeating information, and devoting more time to working on the skill. The educational scene in the country has undergone major changes over the years, resulting in better provision of education and better educational practices. In 1944, the Central Advisory Board of Education (CABE) published a comprehensive report called the Sergeant Report on the post-war educational development of the country. As per the report, provisions for the education of the handicapped were to form an essential part of the national system of education, which was to be administered by the Education Department. According to this report, handicapped children were to be sent to special schools only when the nature and extent of their defects made this necessary. In India, a learner with SEN, special educational needs, is defined variously in different documents. For example, a child with SEN in a district primary education program DPEP document is defined as a child with disability such as visual, hearing, locomotor and intellectual. This is according to DPEP 2001. However, the country report in the NCERT UNESCO Regional Workshop report titled Assessment of Needs for Inclusive Education states that SEN goes beyond physical disability. The SSA framework for implementation covers children with special needs under the section on special focus groups, while separating children with disabilities from other groups like girls, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and urban deprived children. It makes provisions for these children under the section on SEN placed. First, zero reject. All children with disabilities must be provided a free and appropriate education. The schools do not have an option to accept or reject a child for education in regular schools. Second, non-discriminatory evaluation. Students who need special education must be clearly identified to ensure that they receive appropriate services. Each student must receive a full individual examination before being placed in a special education program with tests appropriate to his cultural and linguistic background. Re-evaluation should be conducted at regular intervals to assess progress and difficulties in learning. Third, appropriate education. Students with SEN require individualized education programs either in resource room or special class for time being in a regular school. This education must match with their current level of functioning and their special needs. Fourth, least restrictive environment. The children with disabilities must be educated with normal children in regular schools. The regular classrooms provides least restrictive environment for the disabled children. Fifth, parent and student participation. Special education can be made more effective if parents participate actively in the educational program designed for the child with SEN. Sixth, procedural due process. The parents of the disabled child have the right to evaluate the efforts of the school to identify and assess the child with disability, to modify the program of the school to meet the special needs of the child, and if they are not satisfied with the program of the school, they have all the rights to withdraw their child from school for better program. In the 1970s, the Indian government launched the centrally sponsored scheme of integrated education for disabled children, IEDC. This scheme aimed at providing educational opportunities to learners with disabilities in regular schools and to facilitate their achievement and retention. The objective was to integrate children with disabilities in the general community at all levels as equal partners to prepare them for normal development and to enable them to face life with courage and confidence. A cardinal feature of the scheme was the liaison between regular and special schools to reinforce the integration process. Further, the National Council of Education Research and Training NCERT joined hands with UNICEF and launched Project Integrated Education for Disabled Children PIED in the year 1987 to strengthen the integration of learners with disabilities in regular schools. The IEDC scheme provides for a wide range of incentives and interventions for the education of children with disabilities. These include preschool training, counseling for parents' allowances for books and stationery, uniforms, transport, readers and escorts, hostel facilities and other assistive devices. The scheme provides one special teacher for every 8 children with disabilities, community involvement and a resource room in a cluster of 8 to 10 schools. A number of voluntary organizations are implementing the scheme in the various states. The right of every child to education is proclaimed in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the year 1948 and was strongly reaffirmed by the Jomintian World Declaration of Education for All in the year 1990. The standard rules on the equalization of opportunities for persons with disabilities in the year 1993 was an important resolution to improve the educational conditions of persons with disabilities. The implication of this was seen in the form of three legislative acts. First, the Rehabilitation Council of India Act in the year 1992, so-called RCI Act. This act is sorely concerned with manpower development for the rehabilitation of persons with disabilities. Second, the Persons with Disabilities Act 1995, also called PWD Act. This emphasizes on empowering persons with disabilities and promote their equality and participation by eliminating discrimination of all kinds. Third, the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Act in the year 1999. This aims at providing total care to persons with mental retardation and cerebral palsy and also manages the properties bequeathed to the trust. There has been a growing awareness that special education in special schools may be overly restrictive, and instead of working outside the mainstream classrooms, the special schools can work with and provide support to regular schools. Also, it is suggested that learners with disabilities who can be educated in general schools should be educated in general schools, and those studying in special schools should be transferred to the general schools once they are ready to make the shift. Inclusive education. The National Curriculum Framework for School Education NCFSE in the year 2000, brought out by the NCERT, recommended inclusive schools for all without specific reference to pupils with SEN as a way of providing quality education to all the learners. According to NCFSE, segregation or isolation is good neither for learners with disabilities nor for general learners without disabilities. Societal requirement is that learners with special needs should be educated along with other learners in inclusive schools which are cost effective and have sound pedagogical practices according to NCERT 2000. NCFSE also recommended definitive action at the level of curriculum makers, teachers, writers of teaching learning materials and evaluation experts for the success of this strategy. This resulted in revision of the IEDC scheme. This revision is in progress and has to a certain extent gained ground in the country. In India, the need for inclusive education became evident from the fact that despite complete financial support under the IEDC scheme for integrating learners with special needs into the educational system, only 2 to 3% of the total population of these learners was actually integrated into the regular school. Principles of inclusive education. There are three basic principles which govern the inclusive education. These principles are derived from the international and national policy documents. For any school to be inclusive, it must adhere to these three principles. The schools which had explicitly laid out their inclusive policy were more committed in terms of providing support for the enrolled children with disabilities. These three principles are: first, all children have a right to education according to Right to Education Act 2009. An inclusive school welcomes children with all background and abilities MHRD 2005. All children benefit from inclusion. Benefits of inclusive education for children with special needs. The benefits of inclusion for students with SEN are spending the school day alongside classmates who do not have disabilities provides many opportunities for social interaction that would not be available in segregated settings. Children with SEN have appropriate models of behavior. They can observe and imitate the socially acceptable behavior of the students without SEN. Teachers often develop higher standards of performance for students with SEN. Both general and special educators in inclusive settings expect appropriate conduct from all the students. Students with SEN are taught age-appropriate functional components of academic content which may never be part of the curriculum in segregated settings. For example, the science, social studies, etc. Attending inclusive schools increases the probability that students with SEN will continue to participate in a variety of integrated settings throughout their lives. Renduck and Alfer in 1996. For students without SEN, the benefits of inclusion for students without SEN are: students without SEN have a variety of opportunities for interacting with their peers of their own age who experience SEN in inclusive school settings. They may serve as peer tutors during instructional activities. They may play the role of special buddy for the children with SEN during lunch, in the bus or on the playground. Children without SEN can learn a good deal about tolerance, individual difference and human exceptionality by interacting with those with SEN. Children without SEN can learn that students with SEN have many positive characteristics and abilities. Children without SEN have the chance to learn about many of the human service professions such as special education, speech therapy, physical therapy, recreational therapy and vocational rehabilitation. For some, exposure to these areas may lead their making a career in any of these areas later on. Inclusion offers the opportunity for students without SEN to learn to communicate and deal effectively with a wide range of individuals. This also prepares them to fully participate in a pluralistic society when they are adults, according to Renduck and Alfer in the year 1996. Inclusive education ensures that a school responds to the educational needs of the children in the neighborhood. It brings a school closer to the community. Jha, 2002. These guidelines are for those people involved with young children and school students with special education needs. Educational institutions can also utilize these while framing policies for the schools in relation to SEN and inclusive education. The first guideline: young children and students with special education needs have the same rights to a high quality education as people of the same age who do not have special education needs. The positive indicators here are: young children and students with special education needs to have access to the same range of appropriate education settings as other young children and students. There is recognition of the legal right of young children and students with special education needs to enroll and attend school on the same basis as all other young children and students. Educators have the skills and confidence to assist young children and students with SEN. Early childhood education centers and schools are progressively upgraded to provide physical access. Transport assistance is provided between the home and education setting where a need is clearly established. The second guideline, the primary focus of special education is to meet the individual learning and developmental needs of the young children and the student. The positive indicators here are services are available to ensure the earliest possible identification of and support for children with SEN. Professional development for regular and special educators, teacher aides and boards of trustees is provided. Specialist support and advisory services are available to individuals and their families. All young children and students achieve to their full potential. Schools and preschools adapt programs so that young children and students with special needs are included. The curriculum is inclusive of the educational needs, experiences, interests and value of all the students. The third guideline, all young children with SEN have access to a fair share of the available special education resources. The positive indicators here are national special education resources are distributed fairly to meet special education needs of young children. Decisions on individual resource needs are based on valid, fair and culturally appropriate assessment practices. Regular reviews of all special education resources are undertaken to ensure that resource needs and resource allocation are well matched. Schools and preschools are aware of the available resources and support services and use them when required. The fourth guideline, partnership between students, families and education providers is essential in overcoming barriers to learning. The positive indicators here are parents are informed and made aware about the barriers to learning and various resources available. Full information is provided to parents to help them make sound education choices and to participate fully in the enrollment. To participate fully in the enrollment, assessment, planning, programming, placement and monitoring of the child. Both teachers and parents share the responsibility for ensuring maximum benefit from the resources. The fifth guideline, children with SEN have access to a seamless education from the time that their needs are identified through to post-school options. The positive indicators are processes and procedures are easy and simple for the children to move successfully from one education setting to another or to a workplace. The special education is the education process that involves the individually planned, systematically monitored teaching procedures, adapted equipment and materials, accessible settings and other interventions designed to help learners with special needs. The aim is to help children with SEN to achieve a higher level of personal self-sufficiency and success in school and community by providing them access to a regular classroom education along with few special classes. To ensure this, there are various acts and laws at different levels that are implemented. It is implementation of the policy and process that allows all children to participate in all the programs. Disabled children should be accepted without any restrictions in all the educational programs meant for other children. It denotes equality and accepts every child with his own unique capabilities. This principle must be accepted by all the international, national and local programs. The process of inclusion denotes the ways in which the system makes itself welcoming to all. In terms of inclusion of disabled children, it means the shift in services from care of the disabled child to his education and personal development. Inclusive education goes one step further by defining these children as children with special needs who need special attention rather than children who are impaired or handicapped. Inclusive education is nothing but making the programs for disabled children as an integral part of the general educational system rather than a system within general education.